Hey, what's up, y'all? So, I am making a video response to Hank Green's video about why he does not like the term job creator. And he made some fair points. I still disagree with him. Um, I've got a whiteboard here full of why I disagree with him. So, if I glance over to the side occasionally, I'm referring back to my notes. Um, so he made quite a few points. I broke it down into really, I guess, only 3 points that he made. Towards the end, he talked about coal plants and the effect they've had, and how it's more recently they're more negative than positive. Which I'm really glad he mentioned that because I talked about coal a bit as an analogy that I used. And so I'm kind of glad that at one point he brought it up so it became more appropriate and not just an example that I thought of. So yeah, let's jump into this. The first thing he said was that he doesn't create jobs just to create jobs. As a business owner, he creates jobs to create value. The jobs are created because there's a need in his company that needs filling. Um, he creates jobs because he needs someone to do a thing, not because he wants to hire another person per se. And while that's completely fair, as far as I know, I've never been a small business owner. Completely accurate, but that's kind of besides the point. We don't judge everything purely by its intent. Um, for example, and this is the first time I'm going to bring up coal. Um, we don't judge coal purely by what the intent in mining and burning coal is. It has some side effects aside from the burning, aside from what mining and burning it does, the effects it has on the environment. These are valid things to discuss and bring up, even if it's not the intent of burning the coal to damage the environment. It's a thing that happens, and I apologize if it's a bit shaky. I'm holding my phone one-handed. There, maybe that's a bit better. Trying to get it a bit centered. And so you kind of get that effect of, even if it's not necessarily what you set out to do, it's what happens. And that's the same thing with being a job creator. You may not set out to create a job, but you need a job done. So to get that job done, you create a job. You create a job opening, you fill that job opening, boom, there's a job that is being done. You've created a job. If intent was all that mattered, we wouldn't have discussions of things like ethics or climate change, because intent would be all that mattered. Why did you do the thing? Well, I did it because of because I needed money. Oh well, okay. It doesn't matter that what you did was wrong. All that mattered is you did it because you needed it. Sorry, I'm like off camera. So again, there's more to the conversation than just what you think or what your intent is. I've been hammering this home for 2 minutes. I'm going to move on. Next is business is amoral, as are created jobs. And created jobs can be destructive. So using job creator as kind of a positive title, he doesn't feel quite right about that. And that's an accurate thing. Being a job creator isn't always positive. For example, the coal jobs that our president wants to create. Those are not good jobs. Between black lung for the miners, um, you know, the coal burning at the power plants, these are negative things. But at the same time, if they feed hungry children, that's a positive. It's a complicated math problem. There's some negatives, there's some positives. It's the job of job creators and entrepreneurs to keep the books positive. It's not always black and white. And that people use job creator as a positive, like always, I think is a fair criticism, because it's not always a positive thing. You can create negative jobs. To be a little silly with it, Hitman is a negative job, I would say, but it is a job. There are people that kill people for money. That's a thing. I don't know how one goes about getting into that line of work. It's a little outside of my area of expertise, but it is a thing that exists. And it's a negative. It is a negative. Job creator is not necessarily a positive thing. And the fact that it's always used as a positive, I can kind of see where he's coming from about that. I'm not sure why he'd necessarily have a problem with a positive title being applied to him, but it's his life. That said, at this point, he still has not convinced me that it's not an appropriate title to apply to him. And in this next section, where he talks about who are job creators, which he gets really in depth into how jobs are created in his company in particular. But he talks about how you could argue that the people who mine the metals and who make the materials that are used at the job are the job creators, or who create the algorithms that are used at the job. You could use the argument at a lot of different places for who is the job creator. Is it the human resources person who does the hiring? Is it the CEO? Is it the clientele? Which would be another, I think, really good argument, and one that I think you would have to make at a certain point as well, that your clientele are job creators. I'd say, though, that as a company grows, this definitely gets harder to answer. When you're dealing with small and medium-sized businesses, it definitely applies to the founder and CEO. A company the size of Hank Green's, I think you would definitely need to apply it to Hank Green. Once it grows beyond a certain size, and I don't know where that limit is. I don't really know where I would draw that line. Somewhere between Hank Green and Elon Musk. That's where this line is drawn. Although I would say that for the lifetime of your company, you retain some credit for being a job creator. Because as long as SciShow is a thing, Hank Green is at least in part responsible for those jobs existing. He had a hand in creating those jobs. Even when Hank Green no longer is a part of SciShow. Whether he sells it off, or he gets voted out, or however it may happen one day. If Hank Green ceases to be a part of SciShow, he will still be a part of SciShow because he founded it. SciShow would not exist without Hank Green. And so even then, to an extent, those jobs are still partially because of Hank Green. Now, I think at that point, calling him a job creator would be a little silly. But as long as he's still actively part of the management and involved in the hiring and the managerial decision making, I think calling him a job creator is a reasonable thing, because that is still part of his job function. Now, I understand that there is more to being a CEO than creating jobs. And I understand that he doesn't want to just be seen as a job creator, but I think saying that we are all, and I think saying that all of the managerial staff at SciShow is job creators is perfectly valid. Now that I've heard his explanation for it, it no longer sounds like just a PR move or as Philip DeFranco put it. I don't remember his wording. Never mind. What was it, like a commie, we are the world type thing? I don't remember if it was him that said that or someone else. Whatever. Anyways, that's just my thought. Those were kind of the 3 big points I wanted to hit on. I'm going to go ahead and send this to Hank on Twitter. If he responds, that'd be awesome. If not, oh well. If you think I misinterpreted anything or misunderstood anything, feel free to correct me. My feelings won't be hurt. They might be hurt a little bit. But otherwise, that's what I got for you today. Maybe I'll start doing this more often. Maybe I'll get an actual webcam so that I'm not holding my phone, so that it's all shaky. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later.